Top of the afternoon, and thank you for joining us on CBI News at noon. I am Babati Milenyi Kayode. First, let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu orders urgent fix on 2 major federal roads. Police honored 10 officers killed in Kebbi. Health alarm in Kano as diphtheria outbreak kills at least 50. On the foreign scene, Canada slaps 50% counter tariffs on U.S. goods. The details in a moment. Stay with us. We begin with President Bola Tinubu, who has ordered urgent intervention on 2 critical corridors, the Benin-Abo Asaba Road and the Ifaki-Kaba-Ado-Ekiti Road. In a statement by spokesman Francis Nweze, Minister of Works David Umahi said the president is deeply concerned by the deplorable condition and the hardship on commuters. On the president's directive to restore movement immediately, Umahi says machinery is already in motion. It took apologies to stranded commuters, assuring that government action will go beyond palliatives to a permanent fix. Away from the presidency, the matters of security, where the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has paid tribute to 10 police officers killed on active duty in Kebbi State, describing their death as a painful loss to the force. The officers died on August 10th during a gun battle with suspected bandits along the Rafin-Mako axis in Sakapa local government area. The IGP hailed the officers for their sacrifices to the Nigerian police force and the country at large. He also disclosed that the federal government has cleared the backlog of entitlement owed to families of deceased officers, some unpaid for years, to ensure their sacrifice is not forgotten.
We are gathered here today to pay honor to the soul of our departed officers, 10 of them who were killed on active duty in Kebbi State. These are one of the best officers we have around because fortunately they have fought side by side with me in an anti-banditry clearance in Kwara State. These are officers who will never move a step back. They will continue to move forward until they achieve their aims. So I know them so well. I know those who died personally. They are officers of great courage. So it's something of great sorrow, they passed on, but we give thanks to Almighty God for the kind of life they have lived. We are not going to ever leave them behind. For your information, backlog of money that are supposed to have been paid for deceased police officers for some time now have just been paid by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we have something to do for members of the deceased families.
In addition, the police chief stressed that the force will continue to work closely with the armed forces and other security agencies to combat banditry, terrorism, and other crimes across the country. Still on security, police in Ogun State have busted an alleged baby factory in Mowe, rescuing 2 pregnant women and 4 children. The raid happened at 8 a.m. on Monday, August 24 at Toluwalashe Street, Abare Village, following intelligence on human trafficking and illegal adoption. Police PRO DSP Oluseyi Babasheyi said those rescued include a 7-month pregnant 23-year-old and an 8-month pregnant 20-year-old, plus 4 children. 6 suspects are reportedly in custody, including 2 women, aged 58 and 63, and an attending nurse. We move to Lagos now, where authorities say enforcement alone will not keep the city clean. Head of Lagos Environmental Sanitation Corps, retired Major Olani Cole, says residents must take greater responsibility. He was speaking at a stakeholders forum in Bolade Oshodi for communities in Lagos East and Central. He said environmental sanitation cannot be left to government alone. Major Cole also restated the ban on styrofoam food packs, saying the block drains and worsen flooding. He said thousands have been prosecuted this year for offences including illegal dumping and street trading. He urged residents to use approved waste collectors and report environmental offences. You are watching CBI News at noon. We'll take a short break now. More national stories when we return. Welcome back. And now to the rest of the news. As political activities gather momentum ahead of the 2027 general elections, Nigerians are beginning to set the agenda for the next leadership in Plateau State. And the residents are also lending their voices to the national conversation on what matters most going into the polls. They say they want improved security, economic relief, and quality leadership that will deliver the dividends of democracy. CBI correspondent Abidin Mohammed gauges the mood on the street.
From the farm to the classroom to the market stall, insecurity is strangling everyday life in Nigeria. And in Plateau State, residents say enough is enough. Insecurity remains the single biggest headache for ordinary Nigerians, and it's touching virtually everything. We're talking businesses shut, farms abandoned, children missing school, and daily life disrupted by kidnapping, banditry, and communal clashes. And as the political temperature slowly rises ahead of the 2027 general elections, people on the streets of Plateau State are speaking frankly worried, but still hopeful that good leadership can turn things around. For Mwale Meshak, a student in Jos, the link is direct. Fix insecurity and you immediately ease the hardship Nigerians are feeling right now.
The first issue I would want the government to address is the issue of insecurity. If they are able to tackle the issue of insecurity, a life will balance for everybody.
Helen Dakat, a businesswoman, puts it slightly differently. For her, security alone isn't enough. Government must also close the yawning gap between the rich and the poor and, crucially, put agriculture back at the center of policy.
What I would like the US government address is to for them to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. Because you look at the country, today there is no even middleman. It's either you are rich and the poor. And the government should focus more on agriculture.
Emmanuel Samuel, also a student, and Tokshi Elisha, a farmer, echoed that sentiment. Both told CBI News that insecurity has caused enormous harm to the country and that a more serious, coordinated government response would make a massive difference.
Insecurity, for sure, because insecurity has caused so much harm than good. If they would really try for insecurity, I think it will solve one major part of the problem we have in this country. We need peace. If there is peace, we can do one or two things.
Looking ahead to 2027, Mwale Meshak said he's hopeful Nigerians will make the right choice at the polls.
I pray that the right person will be there. And I pray that the poor people will see what is going on and they will be able to make their choice based on what is going on. They should not go for anybody that wants to subdue them with any material things.
As CBI News reports, the voices from Plateau mirror the wider national mood. Fix security, revive agriculture, tackle inequality, and deliver responsible leadership.
We now move to Kano, where at least 50 people have reportedly died in a diphtheria outbreak in Kano State, with several others hospitalized. Lawmakers say the outbreak is centered on Rano local government area, where the communities of Rida and Sabwa-Kora was affected. The Kano State House of Assembly has now directed its health committee to work with the Ministry of Health to provide emergency relief and enforce the state's health protection law. The move followed a motion by a member representing Rano, Ibrahim Mohammed, calling for immediate action for the governor. Other lawmakers warn the disease has spread to neighboring Kiru and are urging an urgent vaccination drive to contain it. Let's now bring you stories from outside Nigeria. Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo is now spreading faster than any previous outbreak, and the World Health Organization says fighting is stopping health workers from reaching those who need help. WHO Regional Director for Africa, Mohamed Janavi, called for a humanitarian truce of at least 6 months in Ebola-affected areas, warning cases are nearing 6,000. The call was made on Tuesday, August 25th at the WHO Regional Committee for Africa in Addis Ababa, where more than 600 delegates from 47 African countries are meeting.
Bodibonyo Ebola outbreak continues to expand, with more than 5,290 deaths to date and over approaching 6,000 confirmed cases. It is already the second largest Ebola outbreak in history, surpassed only by the West African epidemic of 2014-2016, which lasted for 2 years and claimed 12,000 lives. Behind every statistics is a family. Behind every number is a community forever changed. Our experience shows that Ebola can be controlled. The challenge today is not only knowledge or tools, the challenge is access. We therefore appeal to all parties to support a humanitarian truce of at least 6 months, allowing health workers safe and unhindered access to the affected communities. Because when health workers reach people, transmission stops. When they cannot, the virus continues to spread. Peace is one of the most powerful medicines we can provide.
The land of origin.
The 4-day session in Addis Ababa is focused on outbreaks and health financing, but officials admit that on the ground in DRC, violence and community resistance continue to disrupt containment. From Ebola crisis in the DRC, we move to Tanzania, where the country's Vice President Emmanuel Nchimbi has resigned after a reported rift with President Samia Suluhu Hassan. In a letter on Instagram, he said he wanted to respect the president's wishes. He becomes the first vice president in Tanzania's history to resign less than 10 months after taking office. He will leave public life next week. Nchimbi was Samia's running mate in last October's disputed election, which was followed by deadly unrest. At least 500 people were killed, according to an official inquiry. The move follows his recent call for a new constitution before 2030. On the foreign scene, the trade dispute between the United States and Canada has escalated, with Canada announcing counter tariffs of up to 50% on U.S. goods. It comes after trade talks collapsed and President Trump imposed new levies on Canadian imports. Ottawa says the measures will apply to almost 28 billion Canadian dollars worth of American products, including steel, furniture, and clothing, and will take effect on the 8th of September. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne described the move as proportionate and strategic and said Canada must respond. From trade war between neighboring countries to a trade route that powers the world, Iran says it has reopened talks with Oman to manage tariffs through the Strait of Hormuz. as it faces renewed economic pressure from the United States. The two countries say they discussed a joint temporary navigational corridor through the strategic waterways, which handled a fifth of global oil shipments before the war began in February. It comes as passage remains dangerous. An oil tanker was struck on Tuesday by an unidentified projectile near the entrance to the strait, according to Maritime Trade Operations. You're watching CBI News at noon. Business news is up next, and Adebola is standing by.
Hello, welcome to Business News. I am Adebola Adedugba. We begin with the news that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is scheduled to conduct Treasury bills auction today, offering 700 billion naira across the 10 years. The 364-day instrument accounts for 500 billion naira, making these an important move for investors' liquidity and interest rate expectations. Nigeria's petrol consumption dropped by 25% in July, falling from 47.4 million litres per day in June to 35.7 million litres daily, despite lower pump prices. The decline points to weakening fuel demand as Nigerians continue to adjust to changing economic conditions. And that's all on Business News. Up next is entertainment. Stick around.
Thank you, Debola. We begin where the nominations are doing the talking. The 18th Headies Awards have unveiled their nominations, with Fola leading the field with 10 nominations across major categories, including Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Male Artist, and Best Rated. Omale follows with 8 nominations, while Mavo and Wizkid have 7 each. Arista and Tiwa Savage are the most nominated female artists with 5 nominations apiece. The nominations cover 213 entries across 35 categories, recognizing songs and artists released between August 1st, 2024 and April 30, 2026. The next rated category features Fido, Fola, Lona, Mavo, Shode, and Zay Level 10. The 18th Headies themed Africa to the World will take place in Toronto, Canada on October 25th. And among these year's honors, we have the veteran Congolese singer Awilo Lokomba, who will be receiving the Headies Hall of Fame Award, while entertainment executive Cecile Hammond will receive the Special Recognition Award. From the celebrations in music to a loss being felt across Yoruba film industry, the Nigerian film industry is mourning the death of veteran Yoruban actor Taiwo Hassan, popularly known as Ogogo. Hassan, who died on Sunday at the age of 66, was laid to rest on Monday in Ilaro, Ogun State, according to Islamic rites. His burial brought together colleagues and friends from across the Yoruba film industry, including Yinka Quadri, Jide Kosoko, Femi Adebayo, Faithia Balogun, and more. Yinka Quadri was visibly emotional at the funeral, with footage of the actor mourning his longtime friend, now circulating wildly. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have also expressed condolences, describing Hassan's contribution to Yoruba theatre and Nigerian cinema as significant to the country's cultural heritage. Ogogo's death followed a battle with stage 4 cancer, which his daughters had publicly disclosed days earlier while appealing for urgent medical assistance. With a career spanning more than 4 decades, Hassan was an actor, filmmaker, and screenwriter whose work made him a prominent figure in Yoruba language cinema. He was 66. And that's where we leave it. Up next, we've got the sport news with Mustafa. Stick around.
Good afternoon and welcome to your lunchtime sports bulletin. We have a packed broadcast today, huge transfer moves across the Premier League, a midfield maestro winning the personal accolade, and early drama under the lights at Flushing Meadows. We start in Manchester, where Manchester United midfielder Bruno Fernandes has been named the PFA Players' Player of the Year. The 31-year-old enjoyed a sensational season, breaking the all-time Premier League assist record after notching up 21 assists, taking him past legends Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. He is the first United player to win it since Wayne Rooney in 2010 and adds this to his Football Writers Award from May. Meanwhile, Manchester City's 21-year-old midfielder Nico O'Reilly was named Young Player of the Year after helping England to World Cup bronze. He makes the Team of the Year alongside Haaland, Cherki and Semenyo. Now to transfers, where Manchester United have completed the signing of 22-year-old Cameroon international Carlos Baleba from Brighton. Old Trafford bosses paid an initial £65 million, with £5 million in add-ons, to partner Baleba alongside fellow summer arrivals Andre Santos and Yuri Tielemans. And still in Manchester, City have agreed to a £34.2 million deal for 22-year-old Brazilian winger Alan Elias from Palmeiras, bringing him in as a direct replacement for Spurs-bound Savinho. And still on transfers, Nottingham Forest have reached an agreement in principle for a club record £50 million deal to sign Chelsea striker Liam Delap. The 23-year-old moves on from Stamford Bridge just a year after joining for £30 million, handing Chelsea a neat £20 million profit. Finally, to tennis, where the U.S. Open's newly revamped mixed doubles tournament kicked off with an immediate shocker for two of the game's biggest superstars. Novak Djokovic and Aryna Sabalenka were knocked out in the opening round, failing to doubles specialist Katerina Siniakova and Henry Patton. Despite a strong start, the powerhouse singles pair dropped the match 1-4, 4-2, 10-2 in a super tiebreak. Siniakova, the world's #1 female doubles player, sealed the upset in style by acing Novak Djokovic on match point. The pair now march on to the quarterfinals, while action continues for the event's $1 million grand prize. And that's all for your lunchtime sports update. Stay tuned to the channel for full coverage and analysis coming up later this evening. Back to you.
All right, Mustafa. Personally, I just want to speak on the PFA award. I think it should be for Declan Rice. That's what I think. I think that should be for Declan Rice. He's a DM and had lots of assists. And at the same time, he propelled Arsenal to win the EPL after 22 years. That's a big one.
Yes, I agree. I mean, it is a massive one, but you cannot take away 21 assists. Never before has it happened. I mean, give the man his accolades. He did very well.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm just going to leave it like that. But personally, I do not agree. And that's it. Just stay tuned, and we will be right back. I didn't know what And with sports, we wrap up CBI News at noon. Stay connected with us for breaking news and exclusive reports from Nigeria and beyond on CBINews.tv. Follow us on all platforms at CBI News TV and on YouTube at CBI News 247. I am Babati Milenyi Kayode. Thanks for watching.
Rescue teams, including Red Cross, security forces, and locals, used cranes and diggers on Sunday, August 23, after heavy rain triggered a landslide at Dar es Salaam dump site at around 2 a.m., which poured onto nearby homes. At least 30 are dead, 22 injured, with 6 in serious condition at Donka Hospital. Officials fear more trapped as search continues. Local Mariam Konde said all 5 brothers died. Fellow residents Hadia Traore says she lost a young person who supported her through 3 years of illness. Prime Minister Amadou Uriba visited the site to offer condolences on behalf of President Mamadi Doumbouya. Minister Jenabu Toure said investigations were on the way. Residents had been urged to leave the site, which is due to close on Sunday. Dar es Salaam served Conakry for decades. Similar tragedies seen before at Koshe in Ethiopia in 2017 and Hulene in Mozambique in 2018, where unstable waste and heavy rain proved deadly. Guinea holds world's largest reserves, including gold and diamonds, but World Bank says 43.7% still below national poverty lines. 3 patients, including a brave nurse, were discharged from the Ebola treatment center in Beni on Saturday, August 22, after making a full recovery. Staff were seen handing over certificates as families celebrated. It is a small but powerful sign that this virus can be beaten. One of the survivors, Musa Vihamba Jerome, had a clear message for everyone watching. He said the disease is real and people must stop saying doctors are killing patients in hospitals because of Ebola.
C'est vraiment une grande joie. Je remercie d'abord Dieu. Je remercie aussi les confrères qui m'ont pris en charge, puisque c'est pas facile. Ce n'est pas facile vraiment. Serment. Et c'est vraiment une conviction que j'ai. Même si j'ai sorti positif, aujourd'hui je suis maintenant négatif grâce aux efforts de mes confrères.
Local leader Joseph Sabuni, president of the Mulekera Municipal Community Committee, said residents should not listen to rumors. He called the survivors living proof that people can recover.
Population ya kwamba ayombe tuende luyenge kukwe ma resistance par rapport na tout ce qui se passe dans la communauté. Na wakati tunaona bageri ile inaonyesha ke vraiment va personnel soignant vanganga viko na jitahidi juu watu wapone, na kama kuko mtu mwenye angali na ile rumeur ya kusema Ebola haiko iko kope, voilà les guéris venye viko na jitahidi kukuya kwa hospitali mbio na kuitika kukua transfere huko kusete. Voilà exemplaire watu viko na pona.
The World Health Organization says that delayed detection and limited access to treatment remain major hurdles in stopping the spread, while health officials have described as growing exponentially. Dr. Kakule Kangilo, head of healthcare providers at the Ebola Treatment Center at Beni General Referral Hospital, told CBI News that early care is everything.
Sensibilisons la population d'accepter d'être prise en charge à temps, parce que cette maladie, si vous êtes prise en charge à temps, avant que les signes soient graves, dans la phase qui n'est pas encore aiguë, les chances de guérir sont énormes.
The latest outbreak caused by the Budimbugyo strain and declared in May has so far recorded 5,375 confirmed cases and 2,557 deaths in the Democratic Republic of Congo, according to health authorities. The Budimbugyo strain is less known than the Zaire strain that caused a huge 2018 200 people. That history is why there is so much anxiety on the ground. Floodwaters swamped parts of Chongzhou in southern China's Guangxi region after torrential rain from Typhoon Nara forced tens of thousands of people from their homes. Drone footage filmed on Monday, August 24 shows roads, buildings, trees, and vehicles partly submerged as rescuers used rubber boats to move through flooded streets. Around 54,000 people have been relocated across Guangxi, including 8,087 moved to emergency shelters. The Guangxi Hydrology Center issued a red flood warning early on August 23 and kept it in place the following day. Rivers rose by as much as 11 meters in some areas, while 19 monitoring stations on 13 rivers recorded water levels above warning thresholds. China activated a level 4 flood and typhoon emergency response for Guangxi, Guangdong, and Hainan, deploying rescue teams and relief supplies to areas most at risk. Nara, the 19th typhoon of China's 2026 season, has lingered over the Beibul Gulf, bringing heavy rain to southern China. Polar downpours are forecast through Wednesday. In recent years, southern China has faced more intense and slower-moving typhoons, a pattern climate scientists link to warmer seas in the South China Sea. The Beibul Gulf, in particular, often traps storms, causing them to dump huge rainfall totals over Guangxi and neighboring Guangdong. China's 4-tier emergency system puts level 4 as the lowest level, but it still triggers mass evacuations and pre-positioning of supplies. With Nara being the 19th storm of the season already, 2026 is tracking as an active year. Authorities in Quito were still burying deceased migrants on Saturday, August 22, weeks after a mass attempt to cross into the Spanish enclave from Morocco led to dozens dead. The footage shows funeral workers carefully removing the bodies of 4 migrants from a vehicle before joining an imam in Islamic funeral prayers and laying them to rest in numbered cinder block graves at a local cemetery. Quito's Regional Minister for Health and Social Affairs, Nabila Benzin, describes the situation as frustrating and said it saddens them deeply.
Y hoy estamos aquí siguiendo con las inhumaciones de los migrantes que murieron el 30 y 31 de julio y 1 de agosto del pasado mes. El sentimiento es muy frustrante, nos da mucha pena, una situación es un drama humanitario que estamos solventando desde la ciudad y la verdad que es una situación muy dramática y nos da mucha pena pues tener que abordarla. En cuanto a identificaciones, tenemos 88 cadáveres y se han identificado solo 9 cadáveres.
By Friday afternoon, 18 of the 88 bodies being held in a temporary morgue set up at the military hospital had been buried. Benzin revealed that only 9 had been identified. Quito was overwhelmed on July 30 when Spanish authorities estimate around 72,000 people crossed or attempted to cross into the enclave. It is one of the largest single surges ever recorded there. Dozens died on the Spanish side, with victims reportedly drowning or being crushed in the surge, while Morocco reported another 11 deaths. Quito's authorities later put the total number of bodies recovered around the enclave at 88. Most of those who crossed returned to Morocco, but authorities estimate that between 5,000 and 10,000 people remain in Quito. Quito and Melilla are 2 tiny Spanish cities on the North African coast, surrounded by Morocco and the Mediterranean. They are the European Union's only land borders with Africa, which makes them a focal point for migration. Iran's acting defense minister, Brigadier General Sayed Majid Ibn al-Raza, has told foreign military attaches that Iran has strengthened its deterrence and will impose unbearable costs on any aggressor. He said Iran's doctrine is not about aggression, but about making another attack too costly to repeat. He also accused international institutions of failing during recent conflicts.
این باوریم که بازدارندگی مؤثر نه از طریق تهاجم بلکه از طریق ایجاد هزینه‌های غیرقابل تحمل برای متجاوز و تضمین پاسخ قاطع و عدم تکرار آن بنا شده است و ما این مفهوم را در این جنگ به کار گرفتیم. ایران همواره در طول تاریخ به دلیل جایگاه و اهمیت راهبردی و وزن ژئوپلیتیکی خود در منطقه و نظام بین‌الملل همواره مورد توجه و طمع‌ورزی قدرت‌های جهانی قرار داشته است و دو جنگ اخیر نیز این موضوع را به اثبات رسانده است.
Defense Ministry spokesperson Raza Tlaibani said Iran is building up military capability as the foundation for deterrence because private firms and knowledge-based companies are producing two-thirds of subsystems and parts for Iranian weapons. He claims Iran makes arms at 10 to 20 times lower cost than foreign equivalents.
قوی شدن رو مبنای بازدارندگی و مبنای رفع اراده دشمن و مقابله با اراده دشمنانی میدانیم که قصد سلطه‌گری بر ایران و یا منطقه داشته و
Iraqi military attaché Brigadier General Dr. Hussein Karim Munshid said the recent war failed to achieve its stated aims, with neither regime change nor destruction of Iran's offensive power achieved.
فيما يخص تقييمنا للقدرات الدفاعية أو تقييمنا للحرب الأخيرة على الجمهورية الإسلامية في إيران، فإنه لكل حرب كما تعرفون أكو أهداف استراتيجية. الأهداف الاستراتيجية اللي كانت معلنة من هذه الحرب هي تغيير النظام، هي إنهاء القدرات الدفاعية للجمهورية الإسلامية. لم يتم تحقيق أي هدف من هذه الأهداف.
This follows the 12-day war in June between Iran and Israel that saw U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites. The U.S. and Iran signed the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding on the 18th of June to end operations and open a 60-day window for talks. That deadline has expired with no final deal, with the major disputes over the Strait of Hormuz still unresolved. The strait carries about a fee. Hyundai plans have ground to a halt as workers down tools over profit share and retirement age. Hyundai motor workers staged an 8-hour strike on Friday, bringing production to a halt at plants in Ulsan, Asan, and Jeonju. Footage obtained by CBI News shows protesters gathered outside Hyundai Motor Group headquarters in Gangjae-dong wearing headbands that read "Unite, Struggle," and holding signs calling to extend the retirement age and raise supplier prices. They want direct talks with the main contractor. The anger is about profit share. Hyundai posted 11 trillion won in operating profit, about $7.9 billion, but workers say the share out is not fair. One protester told CBI News despite Hyundai Motor posting 11 trillion won in operating profits, the company has been stingy with profit sharing. Executives are receiving more than 100 shares each, worth over 60 million won, while workers are getting only 15 shares.
현대자동차는 작년 2025년에 11조라는 엄청난 실적을 거뒀음에도 성과 분배에 대해서는 여전히 인색합니다. 임원들에 대해서는 1인당 100주가 넘는 주식을 지난 6월 달에 1인당 100주 이상 넘는 주식을 6천만 원이 넘는데요. 그 돈을 다 성과로 나눠주고 우리 직원한테는 1인당 15주씩 배분하고 있습니다.
This is the union's first full day stoppage in 10 years. It followed the 16th round of wage talks on August 18, which failed after negotiations resumed following a 41-day gap. Hyundai has a long history of tough labor disputes, and Ulsan Complex is the world's biggest single car plant with more than 30,000 staff. Deals struck there often set the benchmark for manufacturing across South Korea. The union wants higher base pay and bonuses, plus retirements linked to state pension eligibility, potentially keeping staff on until 65. South Korea currently allows retirements at 60, but pension eligibility is moving to 65, creating an income cliff. The union also wants dismissed members reinstated. Another protester told CBI News their demands are neither excessive nor unreasonable.
Many thanks for joining Headline Trends here on CBI News. A major highway is becoming a test of motorist patience. The police are drawing a hard line on mob justice. And in Kuje, a political message has raised questions about what citizens can and cannot be told to do. Meanwhile, thousands of kilometers away, China and the United States are trading sanctions, while Canada is answering American tariffs with tariffs of its own. So yes, there's plenty happening, but sometimes the real story isn't just what happened. It's what these developments say about the people who have to live with the consequences. So let's get into the trends making the headlines. I am Otobo Nkanta, and together, let's make sense of the day's biggest stories. First, if you've ever spent hours on the Benin-Agbo-Asaba road, you probably don't need anyone to explain what gridlock feels like. President Bola Tinubu has now ordered urgent intervention to address the worsening situation. But motorists don't need another promise. That something is being done is what they want. They need to see movement, because when a journey that should take hours stretches far beyond that, it is not just about conveniency. People are losing money, businesses lose time, and tempers inevitably rise. So can this intervention move faster than the traffic it is meant to fix? And speaking of tempers, the Inspector General of Police has issued a blunt warning. Mob justice is murder. Anyone involved, he says, could face the death penalty. It's a message that goes straight to the heart of a growing problem, the tendency to punish first and ask questions later. Because if an angry crowd gets it wrong, who brings the victims back? Nobody. So before a crowd decides who deserves punishment, who decides whether the crowd has got it right? And now, from public anger to political pressure, a video circulating from Kuje shows the council chairman allegedly telling residents to support the APC or leave Kuje. That has understandably raised eyebrows. Now, because if you know, there's a difference between asking people for their vote and telling them what could happen if they don't give it to you. And that brings us to a rather uncomfortable question. At what point does political persuasion becomes political intimidation? And now the stakes get much bigger as we move abroad. China has condemned new U.S. sanctions against Iran, while Tehran has promised retaliation. We've seen this pattern before, trust me. Sanctions, condemnations, threats, and countermeasures. The problem is that every new move raises the stakes. And if the objective is to force Iran to back down, what happens if pressure only makes Tehran more determined to push back? And finally, the United States and Canada are taking their trade dispute to another level. Canada has announced counter tariffs of between 15 and 50% on American goods. For Ottawa and Washington, these are economic decisions for the people buying those goods. However, the impact can be much simpler. Higher prices. And that's often the strange thing about trade wars. Governments may be fighting over policy, leverage, and national interest, but ordinary people can end up paying the bill. So who really wins when everyone starts charging more? And that's the size of it. We continue to track the stories so you don't have to chase them. I am Otobo Nkanta for CBI News.